Thank you, Ian. And bearing in mind the lost 15 minutes at the beginning of our service, I'll have to convert my sermon into a homily, which is a short sermon. See someone nodding, agreeing with me there. I'm going to be talking about living stones in the next 10 minutes, which is an oxymoron, is it not? Surely. It's like calling an ice cube piping hot, a piping hot ice cube. How can a stone be a living stone? Well, Peter, in our passage, does that for us today. And I'm going to try, and here we go. But we're going to have a little quiz quickly, no standing up today, and we're going to shoot through this. For those of you who were here last week, this was the first in a series on 1 Peter. No music. Here we go. What movie did I mention to illustrate the term alien? Was it Star Wars? Was it Star Trek? Or was it E.T.? Yeah, it was E.T. Put your hand up if you saw E.T. in this last week. Thank you, Ben and Shayla. Did you cry? No. I don't cry very often, but I did cry on that. Right, question 2. There he is. My favourite alien. What type of literature is 1 Peter? Is it a gospel? Is it a book? Or is it a letter? It is a letter, or the old-fashioned word is epistle. Question 3. Why did some scholars question the authorship of 1 Peter? Because it is written in Aramaic. Because it is written in simple Greek. Or was it because it is written in polished Greek? Polished Greek is the answer. If Peter wrote it, he was just a humble fisherman. And what some of the scholars think is he couldn't have written such correct and flowery Greek. But we have a solution, don't we? Who do many scholars believe acted as Peter's, and you learned a new word last week, or most of you did, amanuensis. Okay, that is a scribe, or someone who dictates what Peter would have said. Who was it? Was it Andrew, his brother? Was it Silvanus? Or was it Priscilla? We have our own Priscilla, she's not here today. It was Silvanus. Some of you got that right. And the last question, approximately, where were the first Christians to whom this letter was written located? Where did they live predominantly? Obviously, it would have been passed around the Mediterranean, but Mediterranean's not specific enough. Was it Asia Minor? Was it Rome? Or was it Greece? Put your hands up if you said Greece. Gotcha. Put your hands up if you said Rome. Gotcha. It was Asia Minor, Turkey, and all those areas. There it is on the map with my arrows. Okay. Now we've got to get moving on our passage. Oh, there's another arrow. Oh, and another one. We go to our passages now, and we're going to think about what is a cornerstone. What is a cornerstone? There is a cornerstone on a modern building that probably is just a pretend one. It's like the foundation stone that we have. There's one out here, and I think there's one at the back. Foundation stones. But they were used, and this is an ancient cornerstone. You can see that in the lighter grey. It basically is the starting stone from which everything else is built. And if you don't get that right, then it comes tumbling down. Now, I don't know how quickly can we get that technology guys upstairs. Julius, I had a little clip about a living stone. There aren't many kids here. Sion, you're not really a kid now. You're a youth. Okay. We don't have any volume. That looked like an axolotl. There's your living stone. See, there are living stones around. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. That's enough. Very good. All right, let's get into this, and I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon. A living stone, a live stone. My own experience of building hasn't been great, but I did work for a guy in Canberra when I was a student at ANU in Canberra. He paid me cash money, $12 an hour. It was a lot of money back in 1980 something. It would have even been, it would have been 1981. $12 an hour would be like $40 cash in your hand per hour today. And one of the things that I had to do for him was clean bricks. He got beautiful bricks from houses that had been pulled down, and in Canberra my job was to take the mortar off them, and he was building an extension to his house, and he was meticulous. And I remember the day when he set the cornerstones in place, and he was so perfectionist. He spent hours setting these cornerstones in place. And I said, George, his nickname was Moses because he had a big beard, why have you I've been slaving away here with the flies in the sun, and you spent all this time on 2 bricks. He said, David, these are the cornerstones of what I'm wanting to build. If I don't get these right, then everything else is a waste of time. Get the picture? That's these words here. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. We find it in Psalms first. And you've got to wonder that Peter, in writing our passage today, knew. He would have known this psalm. And back then, it was all about the expectation of the Messiah coming. And this is pointing forward to the coming of Jesus as the Messiah. The stone the builders rejected in Hebrew is eben, which just is a feminine word, actually, by the way. Girls, very important. You could make much of that. We can't do without our ebons. Ebanim, it would be in Hebrew. Binah is the cornerstone. There are 2 words used in this. And the writer of the psalm knows that everyone is going to recognize them as what is critical in a building for strength. What determines it, like my friend George knew his cornerstone was all about. We quickly come to Peter's letter now. And Peter is emphasizing that the stone is a living stone. A living stone. The Christian faith is not a dead religion. It's not just a story from history, but it is something that is alive now. The word here in the Greek is zonte. Living is zonte. Alive, active, a vital power. Christian life brings you alive in a way that you cannot have without Christ in it. Live out life. Don't just wobble through and then the dark. It's a quote from a Christian chaplain to First World War soldiers, Studdart Kennedy. Got it here. Live out your life, not just wobble through and then the dark. So many people just limp along in life and they don't live it fully. And part of the reason is that they've never discovered the cornerstone that builds their life strong, that is alive and active for them. And it doesn't matter how old you are. I think if I was going to name Maureen and embarrass her, she's off overseas at what, 84? Is she 84? She's well into her 80s. And she's an example of someone who's lived a life with Christ with vitality. What might this mean for us? It might mean that we become more active in our service for God. Not just in this parish, not just in this church, but how about overseas missions? John and Marion have got strong links with OMF. I've got strong links with International Justice Mission. For those of you doing law, Christian lawyers trying to bring slave traders to justice and freeing slaves. Other agencies in our city, we've got the City Mission. It means becoming alive in these areas and not just wobbling through our workaday lives. Turning up to work, going home, turning up to work, going home. Life is more than that. Peter is meaning us to be active stones in the sense that we are active in our generosity and love, in life, in our families, in our workplaces. What kind of employee or employer are you? Generosity and love. At school, at uni, generosity and love. Sometimes it will mean this active, stone-like living, building our lives, will mean we have tough times. And for those of you who've been through suffering will know they are your growth points. Even though they're tough, and some of you have been through ghastly tough times, they've been your greatest points of growth and renewal. And the last slide, two things. It's so important that Jesus Christ is the foundation stone for our church, for our denomination, and for our lives. And we need to ask the question, where is Christ in our church? And when it comes to belief and doctrine, what is right and what is wrong, the good question to ask is, what would Jesus think? What would Jesus say? What would Jesus do? And he was a doer more than a sayer. And to know that, you've got to do a bit of digging. It doesn't come to us naturally. Study the life of Christ. But secondly, Peter calls us, he is our living stone, he is our cornerstone, but Peter is also saying, we are living stones too. We are a holy priesthood with spiritual sacrifices to offer in building, remember, his church as people. We are tied together. And I don't know, how can we get that video quickly up? 5 seconds, gents, if you can get that video. Oh, not that one. No, okay. Is there another one there of a guy building with rocks? No? Okay. I have building his church, we are tied together as rocks together. That's the work of the cornerstone, holding things together. There was a picture of a guy building his shelter in one of the programs I watch called Alone in Africa. And he starts to put some more rocks on a corner. It all comes tumbling down.
I admit, just from a calorie perspective, this shelter is overkill. But it's something I want to do.
but we too are set free to be truly alive and active, bringing service and generosity and love to where we are.